Hi, this is Ryan Neal from the USA offices of Neal's Saddlery and Harness, CowBoy sewing machines, and high-tech sewing machines. Today we're going to do a little feature video on how to thread our brand new 7360 patcher. 7360 patcher is a machine that's very common design that you've seen come out of Europe from some different manufacturers there. However, we believe our machine to be a much improved version of the 7360. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick video on how to thread the machine. So you can see here we have our cone of thread installed on the top thread stand, and we've taken the thread and put it up through this hole in the mast. Now it's very important to note that you cannot use a very large cone of thread on this thread stand. You want to keep your thread size or your cone size down to anywhere between 2 ounces all the way up to about 6 to 8 ounces, but no larger. You don't want to put 1 pound cone of threads on here or cones of thread on here, because the thread is going to be too large for this bottom holder that holds this cone of thread on. So, and if you do have an issue where you have a coil of thread get hung up underneath the thread stand, that's going to create a tensioning issue throughout the machine. So you want to make sure that the coils of thread don't get hung up underneath the thread stand. If that happens, and it happens frequently enough, what we recommend doing is cutting a piece of cardboard about 4 to 5 inches long, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches wide, punch a hole in the exact center of the piece of cardboard, slide the cardboard down over top the thread stand base here that holds the cone of thread, and that will stop excess coils from falling underneath this thread stand. So we're going to begin the threading process on our 7360 patcher, and you'll see here the threading process begins with this thread guide, and you'll see on the thread guide there are 3 holes. There's one in the rear, one in the middle, one in the front. We're going to take the thread and we're going to thread it through the rear hole from front or from right to left as you're sitting in front of the machine. We're going to skip the middle hole. We're going to go ahead and thread this one from right to left as well. So now it looks like it's threaded around that thread guide 1 time. Now, if you're using extremely heavy threads like 138 up to size 207, we recommend that you thread all 3 holes so it looks like it's wrapped around it twice. But for a lighter weight thread, we can use just 2 holes. Now we're going to move over to this section of the machine, and we're going to go to our main thread tension adjuster, and you'll see there's a small little hole right here. We're going to thread that hole from right to left, pulling the thread through the hole, and then we're going to bring the thread over top of this set of tension discs right here. Then we're going to bring the thread around 1.5 revolutions around the main tensioner so that it's wrapped around 1.5 times. We do not bring it back over to overlap a second time. It just goes around 1 full revolution so that it overlaps once, and then another 1/2 of a revolution. From there, we bring the thread up through the second thread guide or tensioner right here. And then from there, we're ready to put our thread through this thread guide right here from bottom to top. And now we're ready to go up to our thread take-up lever. And we're going to thread that from front to back. And now we're ready to go through this little pigtail right here, and we'll just thread that from top to bottom. Now I'm going to pull, maybe about 1 foot worth of thread through this eyelet because we need that for our next step. Now for the next step, this is a little challenging for some people who are unfamiliar with these types of machines, but all these patching machines use what's called a threading wire. And this threading wire has a hook on the end of it. I'm going to hold it against the machine so that you can see the hook and that you can see the orientation of that hook. We want the barbed end or the hooked end to face towards the wheel of the machine when we go to install it into the needle bar to pull this thread down. So I'm going to show you, we're going to drop the hook down, and we're going to put it underneath the thread or the presser foot guard, and then we're going to bring the threading bar all the way up through. Now you can see the threading hook is facing to the right. That allows you to be able to stuff this thread wire all the way up through there. If you have the hook facing any other direction, it doesn't want to go up through the bar. So you have to be very particular about how you do that. Now, once you have this up through this hole, you can actually turn it a little bit so that then you can turn it so the hooked end faces you. And then that allows you to very easily take the thread and just stick it right up underneath into the hook, just like I've done here. Now turn the bar the other way so that the end of the hook faces to the right again. And we're just going to pull the thread now all the way down through, and just the bar will come, or the threading wire will come out through the bottom. And then you can just discard that and set it aside. And now we're ready to complete our threading operation. We usually set our presser foot down for this operation. I'm sorry, better to leave it in the down position, but let's turn the flywheel so the needle rises up a little bit so we can thread our eye of the needle. And we always want to thread the eye of the needle from right to left. From left to right. You thread the eye of the needle from the left side to the right side. And let me see if I can get this to cooperate and go through. Okay, there we go. So I have it threaded from the left to the right side, and then from there, we just put the thread underneath the two toes of the presser foot, allow it to hang off the back side of the machine, and that is how you thread the 7360. I'm Ryan Neal from the USA offices of Neal Saddlery and Harness, CowBoy sewing machines, and high-tech sewing machines. If you have any additional questions about the 7360, please feel free to give me a call directly. I can be reached at area code 330-692-1418, and I do thank you for your time today.